Sam Levinson, you are gonna pay for this. You will pay. I'm gonna be so honest with y'all. I hated this episode. I hated this episode so bad.
Ooh, you want to buy my nasty merch so bad. Ooh, yeah, buy it, come on, I know you want it, baby girl.
Do you ever get stuck adjusting something until it feels just right? You feel like you can't move until it does. Maybe rewrite the same text 6 times because the wording feels off, even though it says exactly what you mean. Maybe you have to redo something that you just did, like re-enter a room, because it didn't feel right the first time. Or maybe you spend 45 minutes getting ready, not because anything looks wrong, but because something feels wrong, and you can't walk out that door until that feeling goes away. And beneath it all, there's this underlying dread, like something really bad could happen if you don't fix things. That feeling is really hard to explain and can actually be a symptom of OCD. But a lot of people don't realize that because OCD is so misunderstood. The stereotypes portray OCD as a personality quirk, or you're super organized or clean. But in reality, it's a serious condition that can control your life by consuming huge amounts of time and energy. I have OCD and I know how exhausting it can be. And the worst part is that any relief that you feel from fixing things doesn't really last. It might feel okay for a second, but then the bad feeling creeps back in, so you start all over again and again. But you don't have to be stuck in that cycle, because OCD is highly treatable with the right kind of therapy. Not just any therapy though. OCD needs specialized therapy called ERP, or exposure and response prevention therapy. It's specifically designed for OCD, and it's the most effective treatment. That's why I want to tell you about NoCD. NoCD is the world's leading provider of specialized OCD treatment, and it's covered by insurance for over 138 million Americans. All of their licensed therapists are extensively trained in ERP. They work with you in live, virtual sessions, and you can even message your therapist in between sessions for support. If you're ever wondering if things that you're experiencing may actually be OCD, it's worth talking to someone who deeply understands it and is trained specifically to treat it. Visit NoCD.com to book a free call with their team to learn more how NoCD can help. That's NoCD.com. I got so many messages from you guys after the premiere that you guys immediately thought of me and my opinions because I was just so excited for this new season.
When people say it has been 4 years since the last season of Euphoria, nobody wants a new season. They're not talking about me. I want a new season real bad.
I had a watch party with my friends, and I was mourning really, really bad. I was down bad, okay? And I had a couple people there who had never actually seen Euphoria at all, and they loved the episode. They're like, wow, this is great television. I can't believe Breaking Bad is back. But oh my god, I was thoroughly distraught. I was mourning the season 2 aesthetic. I'm not looking for Violet aesthetics, okay? I get it, they're grown-ups, okay? I was mourning some of the cinematic shots that they would do in season 1 and 2. I was mourning some of the color grading. I was mourning Labrinth's music because he took it all out of this season because him and Sam Levinson have beef. I just felt like I was watching an unfinished episode, or like a spin-off episode using the same characters, but completely different direction. But anyway, I've had some time to think, okay? So let's talk about Euphoria Season 3, Episode 1. Rue starts off by narrating saying, a lot of people have asked me what I've been up to since high school, and honestly, nothing good. We start off with Rue in Chihuahua, Mexico, with a bunch of men trying to push her car out of a ditch. And she's singing along to Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross, and we see a duffel bag in the back of her car. Ruby! In the words of Ollie, the $64,000 question is, what's in the suitcase? So now we're seeing Rue supposedly sober, be Lori's drug mule. Now, when it's time for her to cross the border, the car that Lori let her borrow, because she is such a generous woman, did not have 4-wheel drive, just rear-wheel drive. Me and all my friends are like screaming at the TV like, Rue, don't lean back. Go forward, lean forward, the fuck? Just for her to break the back windshield with her skull. Rue, we don't need to lose more brain cells. Immediately, I will say, yes, this season looks beautiful. Once again, this season is shot on Kodak film and a bit more reminiscent of season 2 with like all the warm tones. It's in a 2.391 aspect ratio to feel more Western, more Breaking Bad, and is more wider than previous seasons. And Sam Levinson said that this change aims to reduce the intense subjective focus on the character psychology in favor of showing them existing in a larger world. But immediately, what I noticed while watching this episode, what was missing was Labrinth. His music is not in this season at all. Labrinth is performing at Coachella, and right before the episode had dropped, he did post on his Instagram story, "Hi, People will comfortably lie in this industry and still call themselves honest people, so no cap. I decided to remove whatever music I had in it. I spoke to HBO. As far as I know, you're cool. I left because, last truth, when I work for someone, their vision is paramount to me, but I don't let people treat me like shit. So, Coachella actually decided to premiere the new season of Euphoria at the desert, and they gave a bunch of influencers like really cool PR. Like they gave them like a suitcase and like a Polaroid camera. Like that's totally fine. Like not that I would have wanted that at all, but 9 p.m. EST, the exact same time that episode 1 premiered, Labrinth announced that at the exact same time his new song would be dropping. Shut Your Damn, very much so sounding like it was meant for the show. And unfortunately, it's kind of really obvious that the season was edited last minute to try and pull the songs out. Now, Hans Zimmer has replaced Labrinth as the sole composer, but it just feels empty because there are some moments within this episode that just feel empty. And like an awkward empty, not very intentional. I initially compared it to feeling like I was watching a rough cut YouTube video that got uploaded, not adding in any of the extra sound effects, the music, and people online are like justifying it and they're like, well, it makes sense because they're adults now. There's no glitter in the real world. There's no labyrinth in the real world. We're watching a show. And it just sucks that this apparent disrespect that Labrinth had faced in the workplace is the reason that we're not getting some beautiful art that was like the glue of Euphoria episodes. So, while in Texas, Rue crashes on some random family's farm on their hay, and then a little girl offers her raw, unpasteurized milk. Rue knows not the time to get salmonella. Oh my god. We have now like fully exited Sam Levinson's vision, and now we're just in a Wes Anderson movie, which is like, okay, fine. But if I want to watch Fantastic Mr. Fox or Grand Budapest Hotel, then I would. So this family takes in Ruby for breakfast. We're 6 kids, a wife and a husband, wish Rue well for her college newspaper, for spreading the word on the pure evil that is crossing the border into our beautiful nation, United States. And immediately what looks to be the oldest daughter is eyeing up Rue. She does say she just got her permit, so she could be 15, she could be 21, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if she was 21 and her father literally did not let her have her permit, because something in my heart is telling me that this MAGA-loving, unpasteurized milk-ass family is really supporting women and their independence. So Daisy tells Rue that she's never ever been on the internet. Girl, you have iPhone face. You invented the internet. And that's not a drag. She's stunning. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl. Rue tells Daisy that she wishes she were in her position because Daisy has no idea what Rue actually does for work or the shit that she is in. I feel like we're definitely going to see Daisy again this season, just especially with how long the camera really lingered on her. And listen, this is all shot beautifully. Do not get me wrong, okay? This episode is beautiful. I said in my last video that the beautifulness does make up a lot for me for like the story writing issues, but I just don't feel like I'm watching Euphoria, which is just so odd to me because season 2 felt like such a natural evolution of season 1, even though it was very different from season 1. And this just feels like something completely different. Odd to do when you're seemingly wrapping the show up with this season. But of course, these are just my initial thoughts. Things might change. I'm open. I have an open heart, an open mind, open legs. So Rue ends up in a house with bird cages everywhere. I immediately am like, oh fuck, okay, I know where we are. Right before we hear the monotone ass, hello Rue. Lori tells Rue that since she lost her car, she'll just have to add it to her tab then. Give her 4-wheel drive if you want her driving in the desert. Damn! But yes, Rue does indeed have a hefty tab now, okay? A few years after high school, Rue was working at a smoke shack. Not a surrogate mother and not a private investigator like Zendaya and Sam Levinson were plotting beforehand. The scariest voice you could ever hear, Lori saying, you owe me money. And Rue's like, oh my god, well of course, like duh, I was gonna pay you back. Well, of course. But you moved and I don't have 10 grand right now. And Lori's like, oh my god, you don't owe me 10 grand, silly. It's been almost 5 years. And now there's interest. You actually owe me $43,887,000. Can I just say I love this blonde actor who is a part of Lori's team. So I love him. Men should not be blonde as adults, okay? I feel very strongly about that. Adult men don't have blonde hair. Grow up. But the only ones who do get a pass from me are Yost, the twins from The Garden, Noah Mulkey, and the guy who plays Mitch on Euphoria. I'm like assembling a team right now, okay? It makes sense in my head. And Lori is so kind, but of course, and so generous. And she's like, like, oh my god, silly, don't worry, I'll settle for $100,000. You don't have that either, do you? And that is how Rue became Lori's drug mule. And you know what? A little bit far from a surrogate mother or a private investigator. So at this club in Mexico, Rue has to swallow whole balloons of fentanyl with KY jelly to smuggle across the border. And if any of these balloons were to pop in her, she would die. So while I do think that Rue is sober, although there is a debate online whether or not she is, and I'm sure we'll learn more about that, I do wonder how she is mentally being around all these drugs. Probably not good, obviously. But if she is in fact trying to stay sober and she's having to swallow literal balloons of fentanyl, how does that affect you psychologically? And after a few runs, she decides to bring in some help. Faye! You guys love my lore drop that I had with Chloe Cherry in the last video. Now, many people are in agreement online that this scene is disgusting as fuck, and questioning Sam Levinson, is this fetish content? Sam Levinson absolutely is getting his asshole ripped a new one online for making them do this scene. Specifically, Chloe Cherry, where sex work was previously her main gig, and this is quite graphic and prolonged, and I can easily understand how this would be considered fetish content. Chloe Cherry did say that Sam wanted to show how awful and disgusting this really was, and wanted them to just go for it. Crossing the border while stuffed with fentanyl is proven to be really stressful, not only on the mind but the body. So they're tooting up a storm in the car. Rue, I told you not to drink the unpasteurized milk, oh my god. And when asked by Border Patrol what they were doing in Mexico, Sadaya makes an appearance and says she was showing her girl how the mamacitas do it down here. Okay. It is actually insane how you cannot see Zendaya at all. That is not Zendaya Coleman. This is Ruby Bennett. So Rue and Faye do make it back to Lori's, but not without shit literally running down Faye's leg with a dog licking it off of her, and Rue having to be hauled up the stairs to poop in a strainer. The same strainer that Faye then makes spaghetti for everyone. And now that I'm thinking about it, I've had spaghetti every single night since watching that episode of Euphoria. Why have I been doing that? I'm telling you, like, the Euphoria subconsciously convinced me to eat spaghetti. So Lori did in fact have to leave East Highland after Fez's house got raided, and that's when she went into business with her cousin Harley and his son Wayne, who has a thing for Faye. There is this scene of Faye eating her hair, and I'm like, oh yeah, Emmy. Zendaya for Emmy, obviously, and everyone is like, oh my god, the final shot from this episode, Emmy worthy. I think Faye should get an Emmy for eating her own hair. Now, Faye confides in Rue that Wayne actually has a safe in the basement where he's saving money to get into the avocado business. He doesn't want to be in the drug business anymore. And Rue and Faye are like, it would be really nice to get in that safe, huh? Now, Rue, why are we gonna fuck with this family again? Why are we gonna do that? Have we not learned our lesson? Because someone is going to die this season. They're gonna get into the safe. They're gonna get that avocado money. Lori's gonna shoot Rue with a gun. Like, I don't know. So in between runs, Rue Ubers in LA. This is also the first time that Euphoria has kind of like acknowledged that they're in California now. Because in previous seasons, it was like a mystery land. And their license plates would just say, drive safely. And so now they have like confirmed, they're like, yeah, we're in LA. So she drops off her passenger at the Chinese theater, which is where the premiere was held, where I was not invited. I was in the Philippines. I actually had no business of being invited, but I did take it very personally, and it would have been nice. And you all know how much I love the first episode of a season when I get to see it at the Chinese theater. So maybe I should have seen this goddamn episode on the big screen. Maybe then I would have liked it. Fuck! Okay, fun little cool shots like Rue and Lexi's people. Okay, it's pretty. I can't lie. So Rue lies to Lexi and says she was actually in Arizona visiting her sister Gia, who will not be featured within this season. Obviously, Rue can't tell Lexi that she's a drug mule. Lexi thinks that she's just a full-time Uber driver. So Rue starts going on and on about how she met these Christians in Texas, the Miller family, and how she can't stop thinking about them. They're just so happy without technology. And Rue is like, maybe if I had grown up religious, maybe my life would have been better. Which there's always been this like underlying theme of God in Euphoria, right? End of season 1, her being lifted up by the congregation and the choir in their robes resembling her dad's hoodie when she ends up relapsing and she does her big dance number. Season 2, all the times that she's seen in a church with Labrinth, who goes back and forth between being her dad. Ollie talking to her about him converting to Islam. So like this isn't coming out of nowhere, right? There is a lot of God imagery that shows up in the promo for the season. And Lexi says that she's not going to be friends with a Christian, of course, because they're judgmental. Oh, they're judgmental, Lexi. You got me out here defending the Christians. What about you, Lexi Howard? What about the Our Life play? Is that not a little judgmental? So Rue tells Lexi she should really call Fez because he is in prison for 30 years after all, and he really wants to hear from her. Which, by the way, I don't think that that is how prison phone calls work. I don't think you can just call someone up in prison. They have to call you. Maybe I'm wrong though. Ugh. Rest in peace, Angus Cloud. This is kind of where they ended up having to put his character. We knew at the end of season 2, his character was likely going to be taken away to prison. And Sam Levinson talked at the premiere about his attempts to keep Angus clean. He said he even wanted to give this storyline for him where he got really, really jacked in prison. So they mentioned that in this season, we'll be seeing a lot of people call Fez a lot. But God, I hope it's not AI that they're going to be using for his voice at all or for his face. Like, I just hope that they're not going to be using AI. So Lexi now works in Hollywood because she works for a soap, which totally makes sense for her, honestly. One of my friends actually mentioned while watching the scene that Sam Levinson is most likely making fun of writers' rooms. Like, oh, you guys want me to have a writer's room? You guys want this? This is what you want? This fucking writer's room? This fuck-ass writer's room? I'm not giving it to you. Because famously, Sam Levinson does not have a writer's room. It is just him. Which with some of the further dialogue within this episode is like, hello? Wait, did you write that? Sam, did you take a pen and paper and write down that word? And now Lexi's sister, Cassie, is of course living in a right-wing suburban bubble. Which I do really wonder how Sydney Sweeney felt about that line. In what feels to be My Life as Ava color grading. Literally my life meets Wes Anderson. I never thought those words would string a sentence together. Nate and Cassie live in this beautiful house that also does not feel like either of their styles, if I'm being completely honest, but more so just for the aesthetic of the show, because I personally imagine them living in more of a gray box, to be honest, you know? But I guess this is like kind of a campy show of their trad lifestyle that they're trying to lead. Nate Jacobs also apparently wears Bottega Veneta now. Oh, I didn't know that we were doing that. Are we watching Nate Jacobs or are we watching Jacob Elordi? I also just realized that Jacob Elordi's first name is Nate's last name. Yeah. Nate Jacobs with his fucking shoes on the carpet. Ugh! As if that's the most disgusting thing that Nate has done. Walks in on their housekeeper, taking content for Cassie, who is dressed up as a dog in Sydney Sweeney's own lingerie line, Siren. The brand that's logo famously looks like a salad chain logo. Now, why are we blending the actor's personal fashion work with the characters so much? In season 1, it is mentioned that Alexa Demie did encourage that I Am Gia would be featured, which this top is by I Am Gia, which was like the perfect fit for her character and the aesthetic that they were going for. But Bottega Veneta, hello. And I'm so sorry. I am just not that big of a fan of storylines surrounding influencers and wannabe influencers. Like, it just feels so cheap and overdone. I just don't like that. The same way how I feel about like cell phones within shows or movies. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see texting bubbles most of the time. There's like exceptions. I don't want to see an influencer. I'm sorry. Nate's pissed that there's still dishes in the sink. Meanwhile, Cassie's making content half naked dressed up as a dog, which they keep saying the word puppy dog, and I don't love that. And doggy. Nate snaps at their housekeeper to get to work because at the end of the day, he is still an awful person. And he calls Cassie a prostitute and does the scary frat boy finance hand gesture when he tells Cassie to stop acting like one. And a lot of people have noted online that it does not feel like Jacob Elordi is playing Nate Jacobs at all here. It does kind of feel like the essence of him is gone, that this is just a completely different character. Like, his voice doesn't even sound the same. And a lot of people had noted that Priscilla had wrapped up around this time, which he did play Elvis Presley. And now Elvis is trapped inside of Jacob Elordi's body. Whoa, mama, they trapped me inside of Nate Jacobs' body. Nate whistles Cassie over and makes her sit. If I had a nickel for every single time that Jacob Elordi had a woman on the leash just this year, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Because he claims they have money, but they haven't remodeled the living room or the master ensuite yet. Broke. 23 years old, broke. And she's like, I'm trying to make money myself. Like, this brand might sponsor me. I'm gonna get us that master ensuite bathroom remodel. Which Nate says, you have been a bad, bad dog. And I'm so sorry, but that just says not Nate Jacobs. And then Cassie says, woof, woof. Their hearts are not in it. I am so sorry. Good for them for being 23, having all of this. Nate taking over his dad's career because he put him in jail. But Cassie just does not feel like it's enough for the wedding that is right around the corner. So Cassie talks to a friend about wanting to do OnlyFans because she'll be able to have her own finances and contribute to their wealth, but Nate is not having it. Literally my life. Like, isn't this giving literally my life?
Literally my life.
Truly, this is an example of a scene that was eerily quiet. Like, it was definitely supposed to have some Labrinth in here. I'm convinced of it, and they ran out of time to try and fill it in. Lexi seems to be living in the same exact apartment that her character lived in one of them days. Like, truly, look at the banisters, I'm not joking. While doing their laundry, Rue's wearing a $1,000 hoodie. Rue, what about your tab? Lexi tells Rue that Maddie told her that Jules is a sugar baby. But in the words of Maddie, a hooker. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to be here right now because I'm dressed like a hooker and none of you like me. So Maddie now works in management, representing influencers and actors like Dylan Reed, who Lexi has a crush on. I'm so sorry. I don't care. I don't care about this storyline. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It just feels so The Idol to me. I don't care about a fake celebrity. I don't. I'm so sorry. Maddie was now living a life that seemed more glamorous than it actually was, and she wasn't actually making all that much money. So Ollie and Rue meet at the diner, and she mentions to him this family that she met that seemed so happy because they were so religious. With the amount of times that she keeps talking about this family, it's like clear like they made such an impact on her. But I don't know if the show really did a good job of showing that. She was there for like all of like 10 seconds and slept on hay and had breakfast. Like, upon first watch, you're just like, oh yeah, they're just a natural stepping stone. She manipulated this family so that she could get to Lori's. Not that she had this whole huge epiphany after having breakfast with them. Ollie tells Rue that maybe she should just pick up the Bible and read it, but Rue's like, I don't know, the Bible hates gay people. And Ollie's like, no, that was 3,000 years ago when gay butt sex was actually a distraction. Lesbians are cool. I'm so serious. If you have not seen this episode, this is a real scene. I am not joking. I fuck with you guys a lot. I'm not fucking with you right now. So Rue says she'll give in and she will read the Bible, but she's going to take every single word as absolute fact because either you believe or you don't believe. So while Ubering, Rue listens to the audio version of the Bible. Rue, you're gonna get a 2-star rating, girl. Please just get this man and his dog to WeHo. So in the basement of the horse stables, the family is playing pharmacist. Yeah. That's at least what I say when I do my weekly pill and supplement organizing for the week. I'm like, oh, I'm playing pharmacist right now. But they're playing it on like a much bigger scale. They're playing like big pharma, pharmaceutical industry. Something tells me that they are not licensed to do this. Wayne tells Rue that she needs to deliver a package to a real sick piece of shit, and that he's a big buyer, so Rue cannot fuck this up. Then we watch a chicken get beheaded, which I absolutely hated that. I watched BuzzFeed videos of them doing this to chickens, and it actually did help me go vegan. And at first I was like, okay, unnecessary. This happened for literally no reason. And some people do speculate that this is foreshadowing for someone getting decapitated within this season. What I actually think it is some certain religions will actually sacrifice chickens. Like, for example, before Yom Kippur, some Orthodox Jewish communities perform kaparot, where a chicken is swung over a person's heads to symbolically transfer sins, after which then the chicken is slaughtered. Could it be perhaps Wayne trying to absolve himself from his sins for what damage this drug deal is about to do to Rue? Because he's kind of intentionally fucking over quite a few people here in this situation, which we will soon see. That's my thoughts, at least. Rue shows up to the Alamo ranch, where the garage doors close behind her, where she meets Bishop, who takes the drugs from her and lets Rue know where she can go to the bathroom. But on the way to the bathroom, Rue's like, oh my god, yay! Wait, naked girls. So many girls. I can help them put their bikinis on. Yay! Every straight man in my home that was watching the premiere at my little watch party screamed when they saw Marshawn Lynch, an NFL player in his floaties playing Marco Polo in the pool. This shot of Bishop is honestly really beautiful. I do love it. But this is all basically just one big party house, okay? That is when Bishop watches Rue going crazy with the girls, dancing with them. She is exactly where she wants to be, okay? While Bishop is pulling her away, Alamo stops her and says, you walk into my house, dance with my girls, and you don't even introduce yourself. Then Rue narrates that she truly believes that she met Alamo for a reason. Rue, not everything happens for a reason. And when Rue asks what business Alamo is in, after he says he hand selects his women, he says he's in the business of pussy. I don't think I've ever said that word on this channel. Pussy. He operates 5 of the best strip clubs in California, fully nude and always lewd. And Rue says, oh my god, that's my dream job. Not to be a stripper, but to troubleshoot and work at a club. I'm not going to repeat what Alamo said, obviously, but he essentially says to Rue that she gets a lot of girls, except Sam Levinson, did you write these lines? Hello? Is this allowed? We know we have one writer. Who else wrote that line, Sam Levinson? So, Cassie and Nate are eating spaghetti, hopefully not from the shit strainer, and they're listening to Ed Sheeran. How does Nate Jacobs go from listening to Orville Peck in season 2 to now listening to Ed Sheeran? Anyway, they have a million candles lit at this dinner because he's so broke that he can't even turn the lights on. Honestly, this is just like straight up a fire hazard. It's not even cute. So Cassie wants them to spend $50,000 on floral arrangements for the wedding, and she wants to pay for the flowers. And Nate's like, oh my God, that's so cute because you don't have any money. You are financially dependent on me. Ladies, don't ever let a man trap you, not let you have a job or financial freedom. Because if you want to pay $50,000 for the floral arrangements, although I don't think that you should, and that's outrageous, then you should be able to do it. And also to be able to escape this loser who's like eating his spaghetti. The mouth sounds are insane. And Nate's like, oh my God, my fiance wants to sell her body for floral arrangements. No, you cannot do that. And Cassie's like, oh my God, well then we have a really big problem because I didn't wait my whole life for a ghetto wedding. Who said that line? Cassie or Sydney Sweeney? Quickly. Nate is obviously hurt because the meanest thing that he could be called is brokey. However, he's a lot more submissive than he was in season 1 or 2. I don't think I've ever seen his feelings get hurt like this before. But he cannot stand being called broke. But like Nate, we are literally lighting candles to save money on the electric bill. And especially after that one scene of Cassie surrounded by flowers, you know she loves flowers. Hello. Nate gives in and he's like, okay, fine. What kind of pictures are we talking about posting? You can post, but no boobs and no face at the same time. Now back at the ranch, Tish, who Rue helped tie her bikini, is found dead because she took the pills that Rue brought and they were laced with fentanyl. Because what Wayne gave Rue was laced with fentanyl. And Alamo's like, did Lori set you up to this shit? And they're now like trapping her, like she's in deep shit now. Rue pulls out of her ass, maybe God brought us together. This is the hand of God at work. Me reinventing myself so that one day I could also have my little slice of heaven like you have here at the Alamo Ranch. Rue, you crazy bitch. And Alamo says, oh, so you believe in God. Let's see if he believes in you now. So he puts a little Granny Smith apple on top of her noggin and aims his gun, rouletting her life away. Someone said that Labrinth would call the song Russian Roulette that would have been playing right here, right now. And that is what we lost this season. Alamo aims his gun, shoots, hits the apple, missing Rue's head. And she just has the best fucking response. Zendaya is acting so fucking well to make up for some of the other people who are not acting their asses off. And you know what, girl? If I was you, I would probably believe in God too. A man standing in front of me in his tidy whities, he just shot at me with his gun. I survived overdose, relapsing, Lori holding me hostage overnight, fentanyl balloons in my stomach, 12 runs of that, and getting shot at. Maybe God is real. And that is where we end off the episode. I will admit, I hated it after I watched it. Where's Jules? A labyrinth. Things felt so empty. It felt wrong. I don't know what Jacob Elordi and Sydney Sweeney are doing. I don't know Lexi's storyline, and I don't know if I care about it. And I was so sad. I literally woke up in the middle of the night and looked at Adam and said, I am so sad. And upon rewatch and writing this video, I don't think I hated it as nearly as much as I did the first time. But I don't know if I love it, okay? I will, however, see it through. I'm willing to give it a chance because I love this show so much. One of my criticisms when I was talking about Stranger Things season 5, I was saying that people were essentially going into it waiting to hate the season before they even watched it. But honestly, I went into the season the opposite. I went into it excited. And I believed in it even after everybody wanted it to end after season 2 and said that it was all going to be a shit show. I may come around to it. I'm willing to see it through, okay? I feel like we can't properly judge it until we're a few episodes in. But God, the loss of Labyrinth's music is very evident. I'm planning on doing this every episode this season. I remember watching Trin Lovell and Your Internet Mom's Ash commentary videos on every Euphoria episode years ago, and I would eat them up, and I was like, fuck, I wish I could do that. Alas! If you like this video, please make sure that you like it because that will help so much. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought about episode 1. Make sure that you subscribe if you want to be nasty. If not, you're disgusting. Also, make sure every bell notifications on so you know every single time I post or else you're gross. I have merch out if you would like to buy some merch. Ooh. And if you want to follow me on my other social media, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, it's just at Nicole Rafiee. And if you want to follow me on my TikTok, it's at Nikki Nasty. I'm gonna go now and maybe start believing in God before episode 2. No promises.
But we can do it sometime.